As you can see on my face, on Monday night I was attacked from behind by a racist. New research by the group Hope Not Haters found that those with far-right views are getting younger and more violent. 3 political extremes have sought to weaponise my attack to serve their own ideological dogma. On the far left, anti-racists are victim-blaming by implying that my centrist views somehow legitimise right-wing hate. On the far right, some are claiming that this was a hoax. Meanwhile, Islamists are openly celebrating my attack. What unites these 3 extremes is their hatred for people whose mere existence disrupts each of their narratives. I do not hate my cowardly attacker, and I do not wish to blame one political persuasion over another for the general rise in bigotry. In my life, I've been attacked by people from all 3 of these extremes. But attacks like this mustn't be used to silence political disagreement. That's precisely what the attackers want. So let us proceed with one principle in mind. No idea is above scrutiny, just as no person is beneath dignity. Now, just a warning, this debate may contain language that some viewers may find offensive.
Well, first of all, thank you for coming to work today. It's so brave, considering that this attack only happened a couple of days ago. And I think everything that you've just said is so honourable, and perhaps a lot of people wouldn't take that view if they were in your shoes. Why do you think it's important for us not to hate, but to look at ways of finding solutions?
Well, I mean, I think, first of all, I'd say I've already been down the path of hate when I was younger, so unlike a lot of people, perhaps I just have that benefit of knowing what that's like and the fact that it leads to nothing good. And that was, again, because as I was growing up in Essex, I was subject to extremely violent racist abuse and attacks. But in those days, it was with hammers and knives. Again, in those days, I was saved by people, in particular one incident that we've spoken about on this show, a former serviceman who intervened. In fact, he texted me just this morning about this recent attack and said he wishes he was there again to try and help out. And I said, you've already done enough in my life. But I think because I've already been down that path, I have the benefit of hindsight in knowing that harbouring hatred and blaming a group of people for the actions of a callous individual isn't the way to go. And most of the people that helped me on Monday evening were also white non-Muslims. Yeah. And they really kept me sane. And the love that they showed immediately after the hatred that was sown by the racist, I think that kept me sane.
Wow. Wow.
Do you think it was... I mean, it's interesting. Do you think it was aimed at you as an individual, or you because of your race?
No, it was... I don't think...
They didn't know who you were.
I suspect he didn't know who I was. He hurled racist abuse at me as he hit me. He said effing Paki. And it's because I asked him not to be racist to another family who were East Asian. And that's where
So
it
he
escalated.
was racially abusing another family, you intervened, and then he attacked you.
He said he would attack me first, so what I did is I pulled my phone out to try and record him because I thought he was about to attack me and I thought that might deter him. And as I held my phone up, he knocked it out of my hand and the phone fell and all of these cards spilt everywhere. And then I think this chap that looked to me like he was homeless, he ran towards my phone, so I thought I was about to get robbed. And so I bent down to pick my phone up, not suspecting that this guy was going to show a complete and utter lack of decency. And as I bent down to pick my phone up, he ran from behind and
So it was just a straight racist attack.
I think it does show that, unfortunately, in this country and all around the world, there are a certain type of people that find it acceptable to have a go at somebody because they're not what they want, because they're a different colour, they're a different sexuality, and it absolutely grates me because it's bullying, for one, and I can't stand bullies. But what that geezer done to you is just completely inexcusable, you know. He's waiting for you even to turn down. You know, he's only attacked you once. You're not. So he's attacked you with a cheap shot after saying something racist. I've got mixed race grandchildren, and I actually fear for them because I do believe you're right. It is picking up in some areas, this racism thing, and it's not on. It needs to be stamped on, and it needs to be extinguished as quickly as possible.
And what it is, thank you, Phil, because people who are vulnerable to that kind of influence are more likely to listen to your words, just like Muslims who are vulnerable to extremism. I hope are more likely to listen to mine.
We know there's 2 types of people in this world. Forget about the colour of your skin, what you like sexually, and all the rest of it. All right, there's 2 types of people in this world. There's right uns and there's wrong uns. And you know which side of the fence you're on because you know what's right and you know what's wrong. And if you're a wrong un, you're a wrong un. You know what I mean? It's just
I'd be fascinated if the police catch the person that did this, because I like you and I also respect you. And I'm also in a position where I've never been punched in the face because of what I look like or abused because of what I look like. And I'm fascinated as to what goes through the head of somebody who would even think that that would be OK on any level. And I would be fascinated if the police caught this person who did this to you, for you to actually have a conversation with this person. What goes through your head to even think it's OK to hit somebody based on what they look like?
So I like to practice what I preach, and on this show before, I've advocated for my belief in restorative justice and shorter prison sentences.
You have, yeah.
I would like for this man... You know,
would you talk to him?
I hope he's listening. I don't think prison is going to help him. In fact, he'd probably get beaten up in prison because prison's run by gangs who are from ethnic minorities and they probably want to take revenge, and I don't wish that upon him.
Well, prison's run by various gangs from various...
But a lot of the Muslim
groups.
gangs are getting really strong in prison.
So what would you say to him if the police presented you with this person?
I would like to see him face to face. I can't stop the fact that the criminal justice system has to deliver justice, but I would like to sit down with him and have a conversation with him and try and get him to understand
the impact,
the pain and the impact he's caused.
I think the conversation's fine, but it needs to be backed up with some stiff punishment.
He will be punished.
I don't believe you can tickle anybody in this situation.
Yeah.
You've got to give him a proper.
Yeah, that's not in my hands. He will be punished. He will be punished.
Do you think? I mean, we've all known periods where there was racial intolerance and racial violence in this country. Is it getting worse again?
It is, and can I just bring in some stats on that? This is shocking in terms of actual religious hate crime. At 2016 to 2017, there were 5,949 reported cases. 2017 to 2018, there were 8,336. That's an increase of almost 40% in just a year. And wait for this, 52% of all offences were aimed at Muslims. So something's going on in the country,
Well, it's
no
interesting
question.
You look at the predictions for the European elections across Europe, and I think the figures show that the far right, which last time got 10% of the vote, they now expect to get 14% of the vote.
Do you know, the problem is that I grew up with this stuff, and I do feel like it's coming back around again, and you can't explain... Like, I was walking through East London with my father yesterday. I spent the day with my father and my 2-year-old son, just to take a bit of downtime. And emotionally, it's very difficult because in East London, there's a lot of people that look like me. And I felt safe whenever I saw somebody look like me and felt like I was looking over my shoulder to see if any white person was going to attack me, and that's an emotional response to trauma. But that's how I used to feel when I was 15 years old.
On a daily basis?
On a daily basis, because we were hunted in what they used to call packy bashing, and that's what's just happened to me. I was packy bashed on Monday evening, right? And so it is unfortunate because exactly what the extremists want to create is they want our communities to divide, they want us to stop trusting each other, and they want us to stop having the liberty to debate ideas that we may disagree on. That's exactly what they want to create.
And the integration we've worked so hard to create.
And all these years we've been working hard for it. And so that's why I focused in my introduction on the fact that we mustn't let this stop political debate. Brexit or Remain, the debate has to continue because actually, if we then use this and weaponise, instrumentalise it to say, well, that's why you can't be... Remain, right? But if you can't be Brexit... Well, actually, that's what they want. They want us to shut debate down and have only one opinion, you know, and only one opinion is acceptable and everything else must be silenced.
But isn't the trouble that... I mean, it's exactly the point Phil made. There's some good uns and some bad uns.
Yeah.
And actually, debate amongst the bad uns is quite difficult.
Yeah. Well, that's why...
And dangerous.
Well, I mean, that's why, you know, that's why it's very important for us to say that actually there are bad people in every faction. We know that there's violence among the far left and anti-Semites and racists. We know there's violence and racism on the far right, and clearly with the other third extreme, Muslims, we know there's violence there. So it's not about one political faction or another. It's about good human beings and bad human beings.
Well, just take comfort in the fact that you are probably 10 times the man that person is. You are someone that I respect enormously.
Thank you.
And I dread to think the state of the person that did that to you.
And we thank you for coming on today to talk about it, because in doing so, you will have helped so many people who perhaps have been in similar situations to yourself.